And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
I'll alert the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey everyone, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the show. We're at episode like 232 or some shit like that. I'm not really sure. It's up there. It's a lot. But anyway, we have Sam Grow here today. Sam's got a new album coming out this week called Black Hills. I know I just looked way over there. It's only because I have it up. There's no frills about this show. I give it to you as it is. Black Hills comes out Friday. What I've heard of it, it's awesome. Absolutely incredible. Sam's one of those guests for me. I've wanted on this show forever and ever and ever. I remember the first time I heard Sam was probably around the time I started this thing. Really liked him then, and honestly, I didn't have sounds fucking arrogant as all hell, but I didn't have the clout, I don't think, to get Sam Grow on this show. But you know what? I think it's an honor now that I do, and an even bigger honor that I was reached out to. That's huge. I can't even fathom that, to be honest with you. Anyway, we talk a lot about some cool shit on here. We talk about the album, we talk about the music, we talk about his career, how everything has gone. We talk about some mutual friends of ours with Lakeview and others. But I just gave away the whole fucking episode. But anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy it. What do we got? What did we do this past weekend? This past weekend, we saw Creed Fisher and Mickey LaMantia at Six String Grill and Stage in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Saturday, who do we see? Liam St. John at the Middle East in Cambridge. And then Sunday, we presented Roots, Americana, and Country Acts of the Year at the New England Music Awards. So congratulations to everybody that won. Our friends Nate Ramos won for Americana. Ward Hayden and the Outliers. What? Right. I'm sorry. It's fucking been a weekend. Country Act, Roots Act. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember for the life of me. So that's that. So a big thank you to everybody that came out to those shows and do the whole thing. Next week we're actually gonna have Liam St. John on the podcast. He makes his Opry debut next week, so congratulations to him. But again, Sam Grow is here today. This is one of the next 3 episodes you're getting, 4 episodes-ish, are some of the best we've ever done, I think. Conversation-wise, they're just great. They're just really, really, really good. So sit back, relax. Thank you for being here. If it is your first time here, you're probably like, what the fuck is this dude on? Nothing. This is just ADHD, whiskey, and Zyn, to be totally honest with you. We kind of fuck around and find out here at this show, and I think that's what makes us successful, to be totally honest with you. There's no frills, there's no bullshit. It's just the conversation you're about to hear. Nothing has been edited, none of that. So what you see and hear is what you get. If you were sitting right here in this room with me while we had this conversation, this is exactly what you would have heard. So thank you, Sam, for being here. If it's not your first time, you already knew all that shit. So sit back, relax. We have some merch up on our merch link up in our bios, everywhere you can find all that shit. And also we are opening it up. We've got some things working on now where with some sponsors and stuff. So if you're a business owner or whatever and you want to sponsor some episodes of these shows, feel free to reach out to me through the DMs, through our website, through whatever means you want to find us. We'd be happy to have you. We're gonna be giving away some shit soon that I think you'll like, especially if you're an artist. I know you'll love if you're an artist. So stick around, stay tuned to those things, and we hope you enjoy our conversation with Sam. Cheers, guys. Man, it's a huge pleasure. I've been following you since I started this thing that I lovingly call a shit show. So I appreciate you being on.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, I appreciate it. You're in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
Is it has it started getting ugly up there yet with like snow and all that?
No snow. We had a couple of flurries the other day, but it's gotten a lot colder, a lot faster than I would have liked.
Yeah, dude. Northeast is brutal,
Yeah.
son. It is brutal.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate the weather here. I hate it. It's
Yeah.
the worst.
Have you grown up there your whole life?
Yeah. I've been here since day one.
Dang. Well, I would say there's like two different kinds of people that can make it up there in the Northeast. The ones that were like born and raised there, or just people who are crazy and enjoy enjoy that area
Yeah.
of cold, you know?
Yeah. And it's a little bit of both. You have to be crazy to stay here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the one thing is I can't say about Massachusetts is like the summer and spring is like some of the most beautiful area ever. Plus, y'all's fishing is amazing up there. Like, I totally get it in the spring and summer. When it starts going freaking
Yeah.
cold up there, though, I'm like, I would have to leave.
Yeah. Oh no, and it's not even so much the snow. We haven't gotten snow up here in, substantial amounts of snow up here in years. But when it does snow, it will snow for like a month straight. It's fucking
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah, dude,
Yeah,
100%.
it really is. So like with you, like I know you've been up here and you've played some cool places up here and like smaller
Mhm.
places, which and every time you play here, it's always something else is going on with, kids or this, that, and the other thing, and I always miss it. But you play at like the last time I knew you were up here was at this bar in Drake it.
Yeah.
And you play there quite a bit. What is the relationship there?
I play there once a year. And so Devin, and sadly, that place is actually closing down. It's called The
Yeah, I
Boat,
saw that.
and for a
Yeah.
long time, yeah, and for a long time it was called The Boat House. But uh, Devin's and his family have been a part of that place forever. I played a show at Indian Ranch with Lee Bryce, and I was coming up to play that, and then I get a random DM from Devin, and he was like, "Hey man, if you aren't doing anything the night before, would love if you could swing in." And we already had the bus up there, so I was like, "Why not?" So we pulled our tour bus in there in it was like 17 or 18, and from then on, man, Devin just became such like family. So really, it just became a spot that I play every single year. I'm super sad that it's closing down, but uh, man, I value relationships in those small places more than anything else. It's where I find all the connections of friendships. Is in those rooms of 200-300 people. It's just my favorite places to play
Yeah.
and my favorite kind of venues to play. And I've played all of them, played the big ones, but the small ones, there's just something special that happens. So lucky enough to have that relation last for a long time, and it's just some really good people in the Drake area in Massachusetts. And I have a ton of people come from like Boston and all that to come and see the shows, and they prefer it too. Like those
Yeah,
big
yeah.
places that you go to in Boston. It's a little stuffy. You definitely don't get to have conversations with, the artists that you're going to see or any of that. And I wanted to be different in that regard.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I always talk about country music being like stand-up comedy, right? You can go see a stand-up in like the biggest venues and you lose something,
Yeah.
right? I think it's the same thing
Yeah.
with country music, where like I've seen the biggest and best in huge arenas, and then you see, somebody who's a little smaller, not as big in those smaller rooms, and the music, regardless of how much you like those big arena style guys, the music is always better when it's a smaller place.
Dude, true. And honestly, if you got a chance to talk to some of those guys that, are in the bigger arenas, I would venture to say probably about 95% of them would tell you that if their label would allow it, they would leave those arenas and go back to smaller clubs because there's just some magic that you lose.
Yeah.
I believe the people that do this for the right reason, they do it because they want to connect through people, and they want to write songs that people connect to, and it's a deeper relationship thing. Those people, I think, always miss those smaller places. Now, if you're doing this to just be famous, heck yeah, go play your stadiums and arenas, man. That's what you're doing this for. But the
Right.
people who aren't, I think, always miss the small places. And I've been super lucky to be able to be in full control of my career the whole time I've been doing it. So I just refuse. When I was in a place where I kind of had to get told what to do, that was some of the most miserable times of my life. And man, to walk out on a stage when you're doing something that you absolutely love and walk out on the stage and feel nothing because there's so many people and just no connection, it's a scary place. And Wyatt Flores went through that too, where he was
Yeah.
out there playing shows and got to those big places and he'd get on the stage and feel nothing. And then when he backed down and went a step back down, even though he can absolutely sell those 10,000 tickets, but when he pulled it back down into a smaller room, he got to feel something again. And I just think that's awesome that he was honest with himself and, made that change. I mean, when you're going to big arenas and big things like that, man, you're really just doing it for more money, So if it's a money thing, rock on. But if it's an emotional thing for you, stay in the smaller clubs.
Right. And like we're fortunate up here to have a lot of those smaller places, but unfortunately, we don't have, for some reason, we don't get the draw to get some of those, acts like you and others that are, not huge, not small, like right in the sweet spot, I would say, to come up here because nobody, you're
Yeah,
not
man.
getting played on the radio, unfortunately. It's not, the only way you're being found around here, at least in these parts, is just by, Spotify or social media or anything like that. And for some reason, the bookers around here don't know how to handle that.
Yeah, and it's tough too for your market because I think there really is only one major radio station in your market, for country music anyway. Uh, and it's an iHeart station. So if you're
Right.
not, playing with the big boys and signed to the big labels, then you certainly aren't getting played on that radio station. And you're right. A lot of those, buyers in your area, they do still pay attention to radio. It's still a big thing for them.
Hmm. Yeah.
But man, for me, I was so lucky that I made friends with like the Cadillac 3 and Colt Ford and Eric Pasley and Lee Bryce, and like those guys don't care, They'll go up
No,
there
they
whether they're
don't.
getting radio singles or not, especially Cadillac 3. They radio was never their focus ever. They had some great songs that got on the radio, but they're very much a rock band, that sings country music, and I was lucky to learn from those guys and to get brought on the road with those guys. If not for that, I wouldn't have any markets anywhere. So yeah, and I try to come back every single year just because I really do love that area, and you can feel it that y'all have a different appreciation for country music coming up there. Some of the most country people I've met are in the Northeast, man. So
Yeah.
it's cool to get to come up there and play some music and just meet people.
I wanted to. I'm glad you brought it up because I love touching upon it because you do have that rock and roll, quote unquote country sound, right? And like that's, depending on where you're looking and where you're listening to, like that's also coming back. Like with the Brantleys of the world and you and the Kip Moores and so on and so forth, right? Like, would you? How do you feel about putting yourself in that country umbrella based on the way your songs naturally sound?
Yeah, man. So my story's funny. Like, I never wanted to be the guy. I still don't want to be the guy, if I'm being honest with you. I started playing in rock bands and emo bands when I was young. I just wanted to be the guitar player and the dude that wrote the songs. That's all I wanted to do. But you know, forming a band and like having to rely on other people being the reason on whether you get to do it for a living or not, is why I eventually got to a place where I just had to sing the songs because I knew I could depend on me going and doing it.
Right.
And when I put out some of my first records, they were 100% intent to be a rock record. And then all my local radio stations, the country ones, started picking it up and playing it. So I was like, oh man, no, this is a rock record. This is a rock record. And I would call like some of these radio guys and I'd be like, why are you playing it? And they're like, dude, listen to your voice. You're a country singer. Like, you're country. The lyric is country. Your accent is country. Yes, there's, you know, electric guitars, but it's 100% country music. So I never really got to pick what I was or wasn't. Like, I would just put out my records and, you know, the people who listen to my tunes and then radio just started playing it. So, you know, I'm still grateful to be in the game and grateful to, you know, get to do music for a living. So whatever you want to call me, you can call me it. But man, it is awesome to see, you know, some of that crossover. Like I'm good buddies with the Lakeview guys. I don't know if you know them, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. We hung
Lakeview's
out with them last weekend, the weekend before.
dude, they're the greatest dudes ever. And, you know, I love what they're doing for the genre. I'm a buddy of Jason Cross, friends with Ryan, Jesse. Like, there's a whole different crew of music that's coming in where they are very much rock forward with a country
Yeah.
lyric. So it's fun to watch, and I'm lucky to get to write with all those guys. And I think they do just open up the invitation a little bit more. And of course, Hardy really kicked the door open for those guys that enjoy a heavier guitar but still sing a country lyric because that's what they are. So it's fun, you know, to land where it is. But they, as long as you're listening, you can call me whatever genre you are. I just put that thing out and then they kind of organize it. But you know, I'm just happy
Yeah.
people listen, man.
You know, I call it my, you know, when it's like you or Lakeview, you know, because like I was saying, we hung out with those guys Halloween night, and we had a blast with them. And then, you know, guys like Coe and Treaty Oak, and you know, the list goes
Oh,
on
I
and on,
love
right?
Cool.
When it has that rock and roll country aspect to it, that's my divorced dad country playlist, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. It's the greatest mesh ever. You know, and I've been lucky to work in like the different genres and meet, you know, a lot of those guys as a songwriter. But, you know, for me, it definitely scratches an itch because, you know, as a kid that grew up listening to rock, emo, country, all that, when you just mesh it all together, it's all the things that I love in one. And even like, you know, the country rap world with Colt. I love that I can listen to a hip hop beat with a country
Yeah,
lyric, you know, like
yeah,
that scratches all the itches for me, you know, like I'm not a gangster, you know, I grew up, you know, in the middle of nowhere. So when I can listen to rap that talks about being in the middle of nowhere and it's not rural city and stuff, it's kind of great, you know, because I can relate to it. So it just makes it even more special. And I just love that these guys aren't scared to lean into who they really are, you know, especially Lakeview, man. Like a lot of people call them Yankees, but I mean, they're Pittsburgh, they're blue collar guys. Those guys can
yeah.
legit start up a trench, dig you a hole, and do all of it, which is a lot more that, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of laughing over here because, you know, you're talking about the emo stuff and that kind of thing. And like, my guess is you and I are close in age a little bit. And, you know, when I was growing up and in high school and graduating high school, like, you know, that pop punk emo scene was huge. It was, you know, you couldn't turn around and not hit it. Right. So what were you listening
Yeah.
to, you know, when you're in, you know, in those times that really kind of got you going?
Oh, dude. So my first truck was an F-150 5-speed. I still have it, and it had a 10-disc CD changer in the back of it, and I thought I was the shit because I had it. But there was the most random, schizophrenic set of records. But I'd bounce back from like Brooks and Dunn to The Used to Finch to, you know, Nas. Like I literally listened to everything. I mean, music's my favorite thing in the world, man. And like when people ask me what my hobby is literally my job. It's my favorite thing to do is music and tunes, you know, writing songs and recording them. So yeah, in my day, like from a kid and even to this point, you'll see me at one moment listening to, you know, Rustin Kelly and some singer songwriter stuff to, you know, Colt Ford and, you know, like hard 90s rap to, you know, anything. There's just really no limits. I mean, but man, my like teenage years, if it wasn't like Newfound Glory and The Used and Taking Back Sunday and like that was just, I loved that stuff, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Finch.
I do.
I was lucky
And
enough to play drummer.
it's
What's
funny
that?
where all. I was just going to say it's funny that all those bands, if you really, you break it down and you look at the lyrics and all that, and if you slow it down and put a acoustic guitar behind it, those are country songs.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, e- especially if it has a story and a good lyric,
Yeah,
there's so many like tunes and different genres that if all the country guys started, you know, recutting all that stuff, I mean, they'd be massive, you know, like even
yeah,
like the old school Aerosmith stuff, like some country guy recut Crying or Crazy. Those are number one country
yeah,
songs, man. Like,
absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you're writing songs, where are you pulling from? Are you pulling from personal experiences? Are you doing, things that somebody gives you an idea about? Like, where do you pull most of your stuff from, and where do you prefer to pull your stuff from?
yeah, all the above, man. You know, I think the main place that I get a lot of my songs is from real life and living. And then every single one of my records have been what I call destination records. Like either I'm somewhere and like this record that's coming, Black Hills. I literally rented a cabin in the Black Hill Forest for 2 weeks, packed my wife and kids, and we just moved out there for a couple weeks. And I wrote this record with, you know, by myself and with my wife. And, you know, we kind of talked about on some of the songs, the trips out there. We talked about some of the things and, you know, that I've lived in my life, but, you know, definitely pulling from the aspects of where we were. And I think something really beautiful happens when you kind of travel somewhere and lock in and make a record. It always feels intimate. And for me, what I love about it is every record that I listen to, I can immediately put myself back to where I was when I was making it. And it's super nostalgic for me. Um, and then it's also kind of cool, like the little areas that I go to make these records, the people that are around there, they're like, man, that's, you know, awesome that you're in our area and pulling inspiration from it. And again, it just allows me to tell stories and maybe some people in areas that I wouldn't have been able to do that. So yeah, real life and location is definitely my biggest inspiration when it comes to writing songs.
Now, this may sound a little cliche, but would you say that this album coming out is your current favorite, or is it one of those things where it's your favorite right now because where you are?
I love all the music that on this record. And I am also biased because I opened my own studio that is literally a mile down in my holler. It's on 90 acres and it's just like my little safe place now to make songs. So half of the record was recorded there. So it is special for me. Um, would I say it's my favorite? No, I think all my records are my favorites. You know, I try to
Yeah,
go from the mindset of everything that I put out has to mean something. But every album for me has something different. Like Winfield was a therapy session for me as a kid that went through, you know, divorce, my parents going through a divorce and seeing all that at a young age and the back and forth and the moving and the screaming and all that kind of stuff. Like, so that was a therapeutic album for me. even down to my first record, Love and Whiskey, that was me being basically a degenerate on the road on a bus, in and out of relationships, and drinking my way too much Jack Daniels and trying to make love work being out on the road. So like I can go to every single album and I love it for a different reason. So yeah, I guess it's a roundabout way of no, I don't have any favorites. Everything that I do is, something that I personally dig and love.
Yeah, no, it's like picking your favorite child. Like, you know, when you have
Yeah, dude,
multiple, you love them all for
100%.
different reasons.
Yeah, 100.
You
Yeah,
know,
100%. That's exactly what it is.
right? Even if you do have a favorite, you'll never like admit it out loud.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my favorite changes daily. Like I have 3 kids, so
Yeah, yeah.
one day my oldest will do something I'm like, man, you're my OG, and then other days my youngest will do something and
Yeah,
I'm like, man, you're the guy. So yeah.
yeah. Now with what you're doing and in the music that comes out, do you know a lot of the talk is singles every 6 weeks or whatever. Like, do you like doing that, or do you prefer doing albums?
Oh, dude, I love the single. I'm actually every 3 weeks right now, and I absolutely love it. If I'm being honest with you, I have a lot of friends that don't, but I
Yeah,
genuinely love it because it just means I get to put out more songs. And if you truly think about your favorite artists, like for me, one of my favorite groups of all time is Brooks and Dunn. So if Brooks and Dunn gets online and says they're going to drop a new song every 3 weeks or even every Friday, bro, I'm running to listen to those songs.
yeah,
So as a fan, I love that I get to have more music. So I enjoy it as an artist because I know that as long as people are keeping and listening to the music, I'm just feeding what they want to hear anyway. And I would love to even get to a place where, and I probably could now that I have my own studio, but I'd love to get to a place where I, straight Russ it and put a song out every single Friday for 56 weeks, like I would 100% do that. So yeah, no, it's not stressful for me. I dig it. It just means more songs and more music.
yeah. So what made you decide the 3 weeks rather than typically people that are doing constant singles, it's 6 or whatever it is, 5 or 6 or whatever it is. Why is it? Are you doing 3 because you can, because you have that option to do it that way?
Yeah, for sure. I have the option, and I've kind of always wanted to be faster with the release. Man, when I first started putting out music, John Marks at Spotify, he preferred 11 to 14 weeks in between singles, and that felt like an eternity for me. Like I
Right.
couldn't stand it. So even and then I basically begged and talked to John Marks about getting to a 6 to 8 week, and then even that still felt super long. So yeah, now that I'm not on, some sort of label, and can just kind of do whatever I want, that was one of the first things I wanted to do was put music out faster. And again, man, just so blessed that I have a studio that I can just, you know, drive a mile down my driveway, hang a right turn, hit the dead end, go upstairs and record music, so it's
Yeah.
convenient for me and it's my favorite thing to do. Like out of everything in this job, making the music is my favorite.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, and this is something I haven't really thought about before. But does it make touring new music more difficult when it's that constant? Because remember, back in the day, it was like an artist would put out an album, they would tour it for 2 years, and then another album, right? Now, like, does it make it harder as an artist, or does it make it easier as an artist to pump shit out and play it live as it's coming?
Yeah, so for me, if it makes it uh easier, and I think it's a better experience for people. Like say I'm playing within the same region a couple times within a touring span. What I love about it is they're not going to see the same show twice. They're going to come out to
Right.
one show, and those are the songs and like things that I have in my set. But by the time they come to my next show, I have new songs in my set, so they don't have to see the same thing over and over again. It does make it kind of tough when, fans are like, hey, can you play this song that was 12 releases ago and I now have, 3 new ones that I just put out. I'll sometimes fumble in those. I will still sing them, but sometimes I'm like, dang, man, because I write so much now. But I do think it makes a better experience because it does just allow for every show to not be the same. And what a dream, aside from the like
Yeah,
big songs you have to play, those never change. I won't ever be that artist. The ones that get these big giant songs and don't play them, I'll always play the songs that the people made the biggest. But then in the other interim of all the other things, like it's kind of cool to just like play something new.
yeah. Now, what do you? I love that you brought that up. What do you think about that with artists that don't play their, the songs that got them to where they are? Like, because we've been seeing that a lot too in this, especially in this umbrella, where,
So
not to call
the
anybody out,
I
but Tyler won't play certain songs that
yeah
everybody loves.
yeah I think everybody has their own way of doing things, but for me, getting big songs is catching lightning in a bottle and
Yeah,
having that many people resonate with a tune, and then you refusing to play it at the shows, which is the reason why they bought the babysitter and they freaking are paying for the parking and they went and bought dinner and then spent, $30 to $80 on your ticket to come. Like, bro, you can't do that to people. Like, so for me, it's like a personal
yeah,
disrespect thing. I just wouldn't. And for me also at a lot of my shows, I will yell out, is there anything that I didn't play tonight that y'all wish I played? And that's what I love about my acoustic shows now is like I have that room to just do. There's not some guy pressing play behind me on a drum kit and I'm having to roll through the tunes that are written in, our set. Like I love that I can just go, let me make sure if there's any songs I didn't play tonight, tell me what I need to play and I'll play them right now. And that's just such a big aspect for me. Now, if you're Tyler Childers, probably not the same, vibe for him. Like he wants to do what he wants to do and he can because he's Tyler Childers. But I'm not, and I guess kind of always looked at myself as like the blue collar version of an artist, like if somebody wants something in particular, it's my job to deliver that for them. And man, I
yeah,
would hate it if to know that someone spent all the money that they spent and worked hard on, getting there and taking the time. Cause man, it's hard to get people to come out to shows, especially nowadays. So if they're willing to do that for you, I think our, purpose as artists is to make sure that we're delivering everything that they deserve when they get there.
yeah. No, and that that's I think that's what sets you apart from a lot of other people, where you do get a sense that you do give a shit about the people that are coming.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't be. You kidding me? I get to wake up every day and do music for a job and sing songs for a living, all because y'all give a shit. If you
Yeah,
didn't, then I don't have this job. you know and that's just something that I'm grateful every single day. I believe that every person that God has put into my life that listens to my music is an absolute blessing. And dude, the most intimate thing that anybody can do is that when you're driving to work in the morning, out of all the names that you could type into a search bar, the fact that you take the time to spell out my name into a search bar and listen to my music on your way to work and allow my music to be in your life for even 3 minutes, it's the most intimate thing. It's a choice, and you're choosing me in that moment. It's the most intimate thing anybody can do. So I just, man, it's super special. I won't ever be able to understand anybody that thinks that they deserve that, because they don't.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
super grateful every day for those people.
And it's easy, for somebody that's, I see myself as a fan first, and all that, and that's why I have these conversations, because I love to hear the stories behind all of the music and all the business side of it. But like, as a consumer, that's also what you want to hear from, your favorite artists, where it's like, that we do matter, and that we're not just you just assume that we're going to be there.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no. I can't. I mean, I think that everything that's happened in my life is, pre-written, and I'm a vessel. And the sad thing that I think happens a lot of times with artists too nowadays is they get so caught up on immediate numbers, and that's a sad thing for me too, man. It's like they think they're a failure because they didn't get, 100,000 streams in the weekend or 1 million streams in the first week. And it's like, I was so blessed, man, with my journey in this career. Like, I wrote Kiss My Ass in 2017. Kiss My Ass wasn't my number one song until 2021. And so I think about those moments of if I'd have given up that song because it didn't get 1 million streams in the first week, I'd have been giving up a lot of those songs. But it's like you have to give songs time to find the people that they're supposed to find, and it's not a failure, and you're a vessel. And when you write something, you have to go from the mindset of I'm writing this for even one person. If one person feels what I'm writing right now, then I did exactly what I'm supposed to do. It's commerce, social media, and numbers that I think mess up a lot of artists nowadays, man. Like, it takes a lot of the special meaning out of it. And I don't know, it's like you said, I know we're the same, like around the same age. For me, I used to love those moments where I would be fishing around on YouTube and I would find an artist that was mine. Maybe they had 1,200 views on their video, but for me that was the most special thing in the world. Was like, man, I searched around and I found this new artist that's speaking all the things that I want to hear in music right now, and it was so special. So I guess me remembering those things is what makes it still stay that way for me, as a creator, but also as a consumer, man. Like, I was lucky to have that era.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, let me ask you this, right? And this is the part of it that I like enjoy. As the success you've had and everything you do, and being a dad and being a husband and all that, like how do you find how it's gonna sound weird. How do you find the time to balance it all with everything that goes on?
Oh, man. I think with any good relationship and anything, and I have not been good at this for a long time, so I'm definitely not the expert on this thing. But for me, the big change that has happened within the past 3 years is my wife. She led me closer and got me closer to faith. And then when you get closer to faith, you start to understand order and what the important things are and what the important things aren't. And for me, getting closer and realizing that God first, your wife second, your family third, and everything else after was something that kind of really keeps me in check and in priority. I can't be all I need to be for my kids if I'm constantly living in this chasing of something. And I think my oldest daughter experienced a lot more of me trying to find myself rather than, my youngest that, I've just had. He'll have a completely different story of his old man than my oldest will have of me. So the balance is tough, man. But at the end of the day, all this stuff can go away in an instant. And it's not how many followers do you have on Instagram. It's like, who's going to show up at that casket when you go. And I think that's just something that you have to focus on every day the most,
Yeah, yeah. I can't. I hate to admit this, but I think I needed to hear that today more than you probably know.
Oh, dude, man, trust, brother. Like, I think that anybody's personal growth comes from somebody who, I don't know if I'm allowed to really cuss on here, but someone who really fucked it up.
You can say
Like,
whatever.
I
Yeah,
have
you can say whatever
to,
you want.
like, I think that I've learned my best from other people who have fucked it up and then are willing to be, have enough humility to admit that, and then, you know, help you grow in that experience and journey. And then the hardest part of change is when you finally get to that place and you hold the mirror up to yourself. You have to then understand that you are making those mistakes and you have to change whatever comes along. And my wife was honestly one of the biggest things for me. When she met me, I was drinking, at least a bottle of Jack Daniels a day, if not 3/4 of it. Was a terrible drinker. I was extremely unhappy. I was on a bus every single day. Kind of lost some of those, normal living things. I felt more like a zoo animal than I did a person. And where she started first was, I'm never going to leave you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be your constant. But you know that you have to make some changes when it comes to your drinking. And I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to stay with you through all of it. And like having that first person to be like, not trying to point the finger or anything, going, I'm going to be right here for you, was a completely huge change for me. That she loved me enough to just let me know there is no limit. I will be here for you every day, and we're going to figure this out. Dude, I stopped. It was a day later, I stopped drinking like that because I realized I was never going to love, aside from God, I was never going to love anybody more than I love my wife. And that's definitely comes to Jack Daniels too, So she was just a big change in my life, And like it was all the story of that all for me was definitely bigger than me, and it definitely answered prayer. And I tell everybody, whether you're struggling or not when it comes to faith, I just challenge you to at least read a little bit of it, because you'll understand that we all have to come from somewhere. Even the biggest scientists in the world, man, have to understand that there has to be a start of energy somewhere, and there's only one person that can do that. And then when you start to understand what we're living this life for, it completely changes the dynamic of everything that you do every day, because then you know that there's something bigger than this when we're done. And it's about this connection, and having that. And we just live in probably the most messed up part of the world now, where everybody judges everything on numbers and not on humans. And I think that the closer we can all get to Jesus, the better this whole world will be, man, honestly, in the end.
I think you're right. Honestly, I really do. And I have to thank you for telling that story, because I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear, especially from somebody else, and, I know every now and again I need to hear it. So I appreciate it.
Oh, I need it every day, brother. Like every day I need it.
Yeah.
And I purposely have a devotional that I read every single day, because if I don't, like, if I don't keep some sort of constant and keep something that keeps me accountable, then I definitely will lose my way. I'm not strong enough to do this by myself at all. But I'm grateful for the people that I have in my circle that hold me accountable, and then also the routines that I do every day. But like, and I'm seeing the results of it, with my kids and, my marriage. Like, that's the real win, man. Like, I want my 2 daughters and son that when I go, they're sad that I do. And they feel like I did everything that I was supposed to as a man to take care of them. And at the same time, I think that this finding balance in this dream, man, like we were just talking, I was in a camp all week with Jason Cross, and he was kind of talking to me kind of about the same things you were. And I was like, dude, there really truly is an amazing sweet spot in this business if you're willing to be okay with that. And, I was like, I get to make music for my job every single day and make records every single day, but I also can go into Walmart with my kids, and it's not a big deal. They don't have to call security, and I don't have to rent out the Walmart. Like, if you're okay with it being a job that you love, that like it's very possible to obtain everything that you need to obtain. It's just when you struggle with that thing of famous, which is a word I've never liked and something that I've never wanted, thank God. But like, that's when you find your most miserable people that cross over and think that that's what they want, but it does not. There is no light at the end of that tunnel. And if there's any artists watching this right now, trust me when I say some of my closest friends who are extremely famous, they wish that they weren't. Like, it's not about being famous. It's about making the music that you want. And it's definitely not about money, because you can only spend so much of that too. You can only spend so much money, you know? It's not about cash either. You know, once you buy your house and your cars and all that, what else do you have left? Now you have to, you know, you have a bunch of money left over, and there's nothing that can fill that void, especially not cash, especially not fame, especially not followers. So I hope some artist watch this right now and goes, man, I need to change my direction, because I could have saved myself a lot of time if I ever had any of my heroes kind of go, man, this kind of sucks up here, you know? So it's a lesson that I've definitely been blessed to know.
Well, you know, I can't thank you enough for all of it, because it's been great. And it's, you know, hearing the story, like, we don't hear, like I said earlier, like, we don't hear enough anymore on this show for some reason about the struggle and how it all comes to be. So I appreciate you being open and vulnerable and, you know, just putting it out there. I really do.
Oh man, I appreciate you having me, dude. And anytime you want to link up and we talk, we can do this thing on a regular. I appreciate having me, man. Seriously.
Yeah, anytime, man. Yeah, and you know, next time you're up here, we'll hang out and, you know, chat in real life and, you know, get into it a little more.
Yeah, dude. 100%. We'll have to make it work. I don't know. I mean, luckily I have a few venues in Mass that I play anyway, so I'm sure I'll land somewhere, and hopefully it works out to where you can come out and we can chill in real life, and man, we'll turn on a camera. Maybe we'll just do a live pod when you hang, you know?
So, sounds good to me, man. I'm always down for that.
Awesome.
All right, man. Well, thanks again, and we'll chat soon, and, you know, keep kicking ass, brother.
Thanks, brother, man. I appreciate you, dude, and thank you so much again for the opportunity, and let's chat soon.
Anytime. Well, there you have it, guys. Our conversation with Sam Grow. Again, Sam, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on finally. Like, it's, you know, there's not a lot of artists that I've thought to be on this show that I've been thinking about for a long time, and you're definitely one of them. So thank you so much for being here. New album, Black Hills, comes out Friday. Go check it out. Pre-save it if you haven't already. There's some really good shit on there, man, and it's a huge honor to have gotten to talk to Sam and all that. This weekend, no shows this weekend. I don't think we have shows now for a couple of weeks, so that's fine by us. I would say happy Thanksgiving, but we have an episode next week, so happy Thanksgiving next week when we get there. And that's it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot us a DM. If you don't like the episodes, keep it to your fucking self. I don't care. We're going to still do them the way we do them. So until next time, guys, we'll see you next Wednesday. Again, Liam St. John will be here. He will have made his Opry debut by then, so big congratulations to him. It was a lot of fun getting to sit down with him live and in person. But again, Sam, thank you so much, and to everybody on your team, it's been a fucking pleasure. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, guys. So until then, be good to each other and keep those boots on the ground and the whiskey in the glass, y'all. Cheers.